enhance the value of the land there. So that was, one of the response. There was 13 letters that went out that met that condition, the 200-foot radius. The proposed comprehensive master plan, is still recommending that the future zoning and land use continue as a R1 single family, two-family dwelling. Staff's recommendation recommends approval of the proposed conditional use permit, as long as it complies with our city plans, policies, ordinances, and our state local government code 212004, as it pertains to replats and reconfigurations of lots and/or combining of the lots. Staff recommends considering allowing a set time to allow the applicant to complete the replatting process to make those combined lots into one legal lot. We would like to remind that once you combine it into one lot, you are now only allowed one dwelling. There are several structures. We attached that site plan on there. There are several structures there. One appears to be used for residence currently. So we will be visiting with Mr. Ortegon about that. So we are asking that he also complete the application. Normally applications aren't processed if they're not complete. We ask for certain documents. He's asking to combine lots 3 and 4, but one of the requirements is that you show proof through a deed that you are the owner of those lots, because there has been historically heirs that also come forth and say, well, we are part of that. We didn't, we weren't part of this discussion, so we want to make sure that applicants are actually the owners. So we're asking for a deed. He only provided that for lot 3, but not for lot 4. So we're asking that as a condition as well. And then, of course, that they pull a permit for relocation of that mobile.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're talking about Mr. Ortegon's right now, but we're all going the same thing with the plat. So they have to go through the same thing with an engineer to get, how you're saying, a deed that shows that it's one single thing, not just going and replanting it at the county, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Because that doesn't
Are they
change.
aware of that, and are they understand that that's what needs to be done?
We met several times with Mr. Ortegon to explain that to him. We do not, it doesn't change the legal description that's on file in the deed records. It's still gonna show lots 1 and 2. And in the future, when you do a title commitment or sale of the property, unless you have a new replat that changes that existing plat, issues will arise on behalf of the sellers or the applicants.
I just feel that
We're
they don't
trying to
understand
foresee
sometimes.
some of the problems they're gonna have down the road. Also, it creates addressing problems for the city.
That's why I'm asking.
Mr. Ortegon, were you aware of this? Of what she's stating about?
The replatting,
Uh-huh.
she had told me that it had 2 partial numbers. So I went to the appraisal and got into 1 partial number and made it into 1 lot, but it shows, I guess she says it's only 2 lots on it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
the
it
deed
still shows.
is under both of my names. Both properties are both of my names.
And did you submit both deeds?
Yes, I just submitted.
I just
Well,
want,
cause she
It's
said
been a
that
lot
you
of
only
lack
submitted,
of communication
I only
between-
have 1 deed,
yeah, that there's
for
only
lot.
1 deed.
and I emailed him requesting the deed for lot 4.
I just
Do
feel
you
like there's something missing there. They need to have, they don't, like, we don't understand stuff sometimes. They need to have a better understanding of what really needs to be done. You go replat, they need to understand that there's more to it. Like, if we have to sit down and have a meeting with these people, so be it. So we can make them understand exactly what needs to be done, so they won't be going through all this trouble to do this stuff.
We had several meetings that are documented through notes and emails and phone conversations requesting, and at one time, Mr. Ortegon agreed to the replanning, and at a later date, we received the change from the appraisal district. While that changes the lot, it doesn't legally, in the deed records, it's still lots 3 and 4.
Even though
Okay,
he has
well-
a deed, then what is he gonna need then?
Yes.
Bobby,
can you help formulate it? Just-
Yeah, council, I wanna know, how does the how does the appraisal district able to do this if it's not legal? That's what I want that answer.
I don't know the answer either, because
It's not legal.
The only
I say that the only problem that we see with it is that it's gonna cost us between $3,000 and $6,000.
and that's a reality that everybody faces.
That's pretty much
Yeah.
the problem with the whole thing. I don't mind doing it, it's just, can the people do it, can we do it? But
State
we're
law,
fortunate enough to be able to do it on my side, but I can't speak for.
state
Ruth.
law says you have to do it a certain way. That's state law. You can't grant a variance from state law. Your code of ordinances follows state law.
That's
Right.
So it's consistent. So to answer your question, the appraisal district cannot on their own replat or approve a replat. That power and authority only belongs with you. And there's a way that it has to be done. And the surveyor, more than an engineer, it's a surveyor, and what comes to you as a legitimate replat that follows state law, that's what you have to do. You don't have any wiggle room. And yes, it does cost money. That's just the reality of it. But basically, you're taking legal lots that you or prior councils have already delineated, you've approved. In order to change those, you simply have to follow state law that says, we need a replat. Even if it's simple as a surveyor going out there and finding the stakes and changing two lots into one, it still has to come back to you as to say, block X, lots 1 and 2, will you give us approval based on this replat? And it's prepared a certain way for you. And then replat's gonna say now it might be block X with a new lot 1, which previously combines. So you might have lots, what used to be lot 1, 2, and 3, now you have lot maybe 1, and then your next lot's gonna be 3 next door. But you have to be aware of what's being done. You're the only people that can approve it. Nobody else can. And then it gets filed with the county. So when it's filed with the county, their acceptance of the filing is simply where it needs to be recorded. They have to accept it, but it's not an approval that they're a part of it. It only belongs to you. And it just everybody has to do it that way.
Right, so I found it that I think the key here is we need to find out why is the appraisal district misleading our public or the public to per se, you can go to the appraisal district and here you go, take it to the city. And it's not legal, okay? So we need to clear that loophole right there.
You
It was
Because-
communicated to
and-
him.
and
If
it's
we can
good.
correct that, and I
It
don't
was
mind,
miscommunicated
I
to
spoke to Chief Appraiser, last week, but also remind the council, we have a board member on,
I have a board meeting tomorrow with them
board
and I
meeting.
will appoint it to them
and so
tomorrow for
Sharon
sure.
serves on the board on behalf of the city,
Yeah,
and so that's an important part that, in my opinion, needs to be
Yeah.
addressed with.
I'll address it tomorrow.
Yes, to that end, we do, to be quite frank on that end, that's something that needs to be, discussion. I did meet with, I've met with some county officials regarding, filing the documents at the county clerk's office. Again, that's a significant challenge that we need to get better on, and I'm not just saying that we as a city staff, but, with the cooperation of the county and county clerk's office, we hope to, and the county attorney to hopefully get better at this, to be honest. It's-
The only issue that I see here is Mr. Ortegon has been at this since October, pursuing to the old ordinance before adopted in January 1st, 2024. So this is, he is the legal, owner of both lots. That's the way I see it, and I hate the fact that the appraisal district is misleading the public like this because it's costly. We heard it from, it is costly, and it's unfortunate that this has to come out of pocket for something like this to where I believe we could have, if the appraisal district was on the same page as the city, as the county, then we could have killed this at the beginning. And ended there and say, you know what, Mr. Ortegon, you can't until you replat it, period. And that's coming across the board. But when one entity who is associated with the county itself and the city is misleading and giving you wrong information or a document that's not legal, that's not gonna work on our end, it might work on their end, well then, where do we go from there?
That's where the frustration comes in, and they get frustrated with us, it's not even us, it's that they did it wrong.
Exactly. And I'd like to point out to council that there were options for both, the Martins and Mr. Ortega one. This is part of their doing because they're choosing to combine two separate lots into one because they could have come before and asked for a variance to the setbacks on just one lot. So this is their choice as well. So that kicked in the replat. So we had several discussions, we changed site plans. I had our code enforcement building inspector out there helping them prepare, helping the Martins prepare site plans. Changes were continuous, they kept changing, so a lot of this delay, is on their own doing because they were making these decisions and then changing and then coming back and forth and we gave them an option, look, put it on lot one, ask for a variance to the setbacks. No, we're okay,
This
we'll
was
do
after
it.
3 months.
So we
After
kept,
3 months that you had
Sorry?
told me that about the variance. I have came
The problem,
several times over here to.
Okay, I'll just, one at a time, Rudy.
Well, I've been several times here, I'm calling to see if I could meet up with them, and then they would say they were at meetings and meetings, so I would leave, I would sign my name on the book, would leave, and then it would take a process of several weeks or a week to get in contact with me, to try to change something every time. And then, well, I guess the city council has a meeting every month. It's already been almost 4 months that I've been trying to get this going. The first time we met.
I can say we're making an endeavor to be as smooth as possible, and I'm not gonna say there's faults on our side, your side, whatever, but we are endeavoring to get better at this. But that being said, we've set course and opportunity for you to accomplish this, subject to final approval from the council, so.
And when I started, it wasn't Yolanda, it was somebody else.
Yeah, well, there's a growth process here, and I think we've got a good team in place, and I think we're gonna be able to help that. Bottom line right now is here's where we are. Council, you've heard the staff recommendation, you've heard the conditions that are set forth. And so at this point, do you have any other questions for our assistant city manager?
How long are we giving them to get this done? Because it seems like he's just now finding this out, so he's gonna have to, obviously, what you said, you're gonna have to come out of pocket $3,000 to $4,000?
I'm not sure what the cost is, for what we call a minor replat. It's not gonna require all the details of a preliminary plat or final plat. Those should be less costly. Secondly, Mr. Ortegon agreed to the replat and then changed his mind by going to the appraisal district and bringing us what he thought would be appropriate. And so through several more meetings and discussions, we requested this information. Now, as far as a specific time limit for the condition, that would be entirely up to the council, keeping in mind that the utilities would not be provided, because that is one of the, what do I say, enforcement clause that we have to keep the ordinances in place and enforcing our ordinances. Many times what we've seen is people will move mobile homes in without, one, a permit, two, without a relocation permit, and then putting it across 2 lots, sometimes encroaching into a neighbor's lot. We have some cases that will be coming to you in February. All these applications were filed before January 1. We've got about 3 or 4, and we haven't had too many more inquiries, so I think that was a good thing. But again, what I've seen since being here is also that because these things are happening out there without the enforcement, we were seeing where we're struggling to, you've got the mobile home sitting on Rio Grande City and another street, and then the addressing becomes an issue, not only through the post office, through our city. Mr. Reyes can attest to this. When something like that happens, it's creating problems for the homeowner, the applicant. And that's why we tried to sit with them and explain all of this to them. So not only does it not delay them getting this permit approved, but also that we don't have issues with the utilities. And I know, Councilman, Garza, she can attest to having met with us with some of these problems when you're using two lots or you're encroaching on someone else's property. That delays it, so we like to meet with them and discuss this and try to help them. We even go out there and help them do their site plan, so that it's easier. And remember, we don't do the reviews. We have a third-party contractor, not with zoning cases, but for building permits, anything construction-wise. So we try to get it right before we get it to them, so there's not any delays, or at least that's what we're trying to improve.
Council?
No, well, he had his hand up earlier.
The last question I thought, it was like, it's always been a delay, like, for something, that's why it took so long, I guess, I don't know. Yesterday, we had a zoning, and it was canceled because nobody showed up, so it's been like that.
I think you raised your hand when she said that you had changed your mind about the variance or something.
Yeah, that was later on, the variance and the thing, cause, she had told me, I could get a variance to get, to put it on one lot, and then I had to fight, I guess I had to argue the variance on how close it was gonna be to the other property. So I said, was it gonna take the same amount of time of doing it, fighting with both lots? The same thing, and like, she agreed, yes. It's gonna take, and then she got a surveyor. I called it, she said, I called
I think we just need to move forward with the recommendation, and, we need to, I'm gonna bring
Okay,
this up with the appraisal districts tomorrow when I'm there as well.
But we need to make sure that he's clear as
Yeah,
well
that she's
too,
clear.
because he understands exactly what it is. Because a lot of times, you're sitting here and you're, I mean, even with you telling us all this stuff, sometimes I'm like, what is she talking about? And if it's somebody else,
Yeah.
and, I don't know if he's afraid to ask questions.
No, he's trying to have a meeting, because
It
we're gonna have a
is,
meeting with Fred.
to your point, it is complicated. With that end is, quite frankly, I believe that, I feel confident with the city attorney, city manager, myself, we have the knowledge to explain it to folks. Now, whether they understand it, we don't mind going over it again and say, it'd be the equivalent of, and I'll use Ms. Talamantes as this example, trying to explain to people how to do lesson plans. I couldn't possibly tell you how that's done, because that's not my profession. I don't do that. But I expect the teacher to know how. I expect somebody that's in that profession to know, this is our profession, we know it. Now, whether people wanna hear it or not, or the council may not understand a different story, but it is our profession. And with that, it is complicated, and it's something that we have to, read certain statutes, get clarification from Bobby at times, get with our engineers to say, okay, does this even make sense to what we're trying to do? So things that happen behind the scenes that the council may not see, we are doing that work. But again, to Mr. Ortega's point, and to the council's point, it is confusing at times. It's just like, what in the heck are we making people do? And I don't anticipate it to get any easier, because it is a process that we have to make sure and tell people, look, this is part of statute. It's not like it would be something if we were making this up. I could see that. I could say, hey, you're just blowing smoke, right? That is not, it'd be, another example would be the equivalent of me saying, I know traffic law better than Mr. Ortega or the police chief. I do not know that. That is their job, that is their profession, they should know that. Similar, and all we're doing on our end is, as best we can, respecting the statute and the law the way it's written, at the same time giving them the opportunity to voice their concerns, and that's what we're doing.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Thank you, Fred. I'm gonna read the staff recommendations, y'all can vote on.
She just, didn't she already?
She already
She already.
We just need to go.
Yes, please set a specified time to allow him to do his replat.
Okay, I'm gonna allow me to do this. Staff recommends approval of proposed conditional use permit as it complies with city plans, policies, and ordinances, and state local government code 212.004 as it pertains to replats and reconfiguration of lots and/or combining of lots. Staff recommends considering allowing set time to complete the replatting process. Additionally, that Mr. Otragon complies with the city ordinance to pull a permit for the relocation of the manufactured home to complete the CUP application by providing deed to ownership of lot 4. Also with the ordinance that the city ordinance allows only one